Love you both.
How we doing, guys?
All right.
Come on, Jay. Come on, my boy. I love you, my boy.
Yeah.
Were you gonna dance on that chair?
Get in there, Lo.
I'll be over there shortly over there, okay? Don't think I forgot anybody. I'll be over there in a little bit. Okay, how we doing, everybody?
All right. Yeah.
How do we feel? The numbers are still going to come through. First and foremost, a giant thank you to all the supporters out there, people that were out there from 7 a.m. right till the end, 8 p.m. Big round of applause for every volunteer that was at our polls today. Thank you very much. People bringing food, people bringing signs, water, coffee. I don't know how many Danishes I had today. A ton. Got to work that off tomorrow.
That's right. At the gym, baby.
Or tennis. We'll see. We'll see which
Oh,
one.
tennis.
But thank you, thank you, thank you. So many faces in the room have been here. I know we've been running every single year
Yeah.
the last 3 years. Starting way back in 2016, when we won our first election against then former district attorney and former mayor Sam Sutter. We ran on a promise to eliminate the $120 trash fee. And the team at Government Center, why don't we give a big round of applause?
Yeah.
We made it happen. Right? So that was promise number one fulfilled. Then we had another election against former city councilor Linda Pereira, and we had an unbelievable night. And we were on a total high of just an incredible landslide victory. And we had a second promise, the promise to get rid of the pay-as-you-throw purple bags. And we went into that election, and we worked hard, and we won. We won big. And that was in 2017. So we won in 16. We won in 17. And then we went into a recall election in 18. And we won that election.
Yeah.
When people counted us out then, and people said you couldn't eliminate bags, and you couldn't eliminate the fees, and you couldn't eliminate the stormwater fee, we went forward to win a third election 3 years in a row. Now, we didn't do this by ourselves. We did it with every person in this room, with the team at Government Center, with some of our city councilors. I say very, very few. We have City Councilor Steve Kamara in the room.
Yeah.
We did it through awesome fundraising, our Battleship Party, our Christmas party, parties people threw at their house, Mozambique shrimp parties, all kinds of parties. We did it through those people that wanted to commit something to our campaign. We did it through door knocking. We did it through mailers. We did it through interviews. We did it through debate after debate after debate. Even the most recent debate where there's no question who won the debate because we brought the facts.
Yes.
We brought the facts. We brought the facts to the debate. We brought the facts to that debate. We'll bring the facts to the next 3 debates going into the final election, and we're going to keep doing that. We won the recall election. That was last March, just a few short months ago. We eliminated purple bags despite people saying we couldn't do it. We added more police officers. We added more firefighters. We added more teachers to our city. We cleaned streets through the street sweeping program. We repaired streets and potholes and sidewalks and parks. Parks that hadn't been touched in 20, 30, 40, in some cases, ever. Incredible stuff. We went from $500,000 in our free cash savings account to today over $7 million, and by October we'll be at $9 million. Now, let's talk about the assaults on this campaign and this administration. We've had people describe recent events as dark clouds, as distractions. They've convinced many people tonight, people at home that are watching, people that went to the polls, that have in the last 3 elections voted for Jasiel Correira, switched their vote tonight because they're scared of the unknown. They've been intimidated. They've been told false information. And I understand where they're at in their heart and in their minds. They don't know what the future holds for Jasiel Correira. And I can understand how that can be a scary thing 11 days after the situation that occurred last Friday happened. I can understand their fear walking into the polling locations today. But let me give them a message. If you changed your vote from just this past March, if you changed your vote from the 2016 election, if you changed your vote from the 2017 election, I'm going to ask you one more time to change it, but I'm going to ask you to change it back to Jasiel Correira.
You got it, Jay.
That's what I'm going to ask you to change it back to Jasiel Correira because you know you voted for me before, and you voted for those things to occur in our city. Where were the dark clouds? Where were the people saying at the time, prior to this administration, we were laying off 20, 30 police officers? Those weren't dark times for our city? Where was my opponent, Mr. Coogan, when he was the vice principal, advocating for teachers that were getting pink slips, young teachers that didn't have his tenure, getting pink slips year after year after year because the city couldn't afford to fund education? The most basic right to children in Fall River. Where was he then? Where was the dark cloud when economic development was run by one organization for 30 years, where the top earner of that organization, Ken Fiola, was paid $219,000 in 2017, more than the $157,000 to $179,000 that the economic development director for the entire state of Massachusetts was paid. One person in Fall River. And I made a change. We've made many changes. We're getting a train to our great city. We've changed our waterfront. We've increased businesses in our downtown and through all parts of our city. We've created job training programs. We've done streetscapes. We've changed this community, and that is a legacy. That is a, thank you, yes, happy to clap. That is a legacy. That is a mark. That is a mark. Those are results. Those are not fantasies. Those are not false promises. They're promises fulfilled. And I am the proudest person that I can possibly be. My family thanks you. My sister, my dad,
Yeah.
my mom,
Yeah,
my
Jay,
grandparents.
yeah.
We thank you. We're proud of the things that we've done in this community with all of you. But we're not done. We're not done. We've got from now until November 5th to ask those voters that changed their vote to change it back to Jasiel Correira. We've got from now until November 5th to go to each and every debate, as many debates as there can be, to challenge Mr. Coogan on what his plan truly is. Because when he says he wants to take the city back, he can only mean one direction, backward. We've taken it forward. We're going to continue to take it forward. That's right. Where were the naysayers when the city was near the brink of receivership? Not my words, but the former mayor's words. Where was the media? Where were the people at that time to say, what direction is Fall River heading in? Where they're nearly handing in the keys to the state, where the state was going to run our taxes, where the state was going to create fees for the city of Fall River. Where was the dark cloud then? I say that those are darker times. Yes. It's darker times when the city can't afford to put police officers and firefighters on the streets. It's darker times when young teachers don't even know if they have a job after the summer vacation. It's darker times when we never had a street sweeping program to sweep all of Fall River, which now we do. It's darker times when you have one person running economic development. It's darker times when you have $500,000 in snow and ice, in stabilization, and $1 million in snow and ice deficit, putting the city in the hole. It's darker times when the city of Fall River could not move ahead. And we certainly have moved ahead. We've moved ahead on the police department, the fire department, the equipment. Give our public safety round of applause. All brand new fire trucks, brand new police cruisers, cameras through our downtowns, different parts of our city. Housing incentive programs. The first market rate apartment building being constructed out of the ground on Fall River's waterfront. Mill conversions. Elderly housing. The opiate crisis. Attacking people like the big pharmaceutical companies that have put millions of people to death through the opiate crisis. This administration remains focused today, tomorrow, and in the future to work very hard each and every day with every member of our city. Every single one, no matter.
Stay strong. Dad.
We are strong, girl. We've never been weak. Whether you live in the North End, the South End, the Flint, downtown, in between, whatever precinct you vote at, I want you to know that over the next 6 weeks, and over the next several debates, and over the next 6 weeks of door knocking, I'm going to shake your hand. I'm going to look you in the eyes. I'm going to allow you to ask me any question you want, about anything you want. And I'm going to tell you the truth. And I'm going to give you the honest answers that you deserve, that you've expected, that you've gotten every single day from this mayor. And I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to ask you to change your vote to Jasiel Correira. I'm going to ask you to afford me the simplest thing I can ask. Afford me the benefit of the doubt. Because we know why the numbers were the way they were tonight. We know it's not because we haven't done a good job. We know it's not because the city hasn't moved forward. We know it's because there has been attack after attack after attack on the national level, to the local level, to the state level. You see it across the country, what's happening to good elected officials. It's divide, it's anger, it's vindication, it's vendettas. I put all that aside because I work for the people of Fall River each and every single day, and I'm going to keep doing that. So I'm going to ask you, I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to ask you, if you're out there watching tonight and you voted for us, one of the many thousands that did, thank you. Thank you for taking your most important right to take your vote and vote for Jasiel Correira and fill in that little circle. Third on the ballot tonight. Thank you. Thank you for voting for me. If you were one of the some 75% of registered voters that did not turn out to the polls today, that did not come to the polls today in this preliminary election, because we know that final elections double the number of voter turnout. Double. If you were one of those 75% that did not, I need you to come to the polls on November 5th and vote for Jasiel Correira. And lastly, and it's the most personal group to me, and lastly, the people that voted for another candidate who changed their vote from March, who changed their vote from the 2017 election, or who changed their vote from the 2016 election, from Jasiel Correira to someone else. I want to convince you, through facts, through the record, through what we've done, to change your vote back to Jasiel Correira. And with those three groups of people, and the people in this room, and the administration at City Hall, we're going to win on November 5th.
Yeah.
We're going to win on November 5th.
Don't forget our Vietnam Wall.
We're going to win on November done so much for those that are challenged with opiates. We've done so much for our veterans. How many things have we done for our veterans?
The Vietnam War, yeah.
For businesses, for the average homeowner, for the investor, for the renter. We have changed people's lives for the better in Fall River, and we want to keep doing that. There's a few other people that I have to thank, but before I go into that, as many of you know, I go to church every Sunday, and God is a very important part of my life, the most important part of my life. And I believe that every decision is made for a reason, every choice is made, and that there is a greater plan, that there is a greater challenge. You remember the stories in the Bible, David versus Goliath. You remember the many times that things looked impossible, and God intervened and made them possible. Because without God, nothing is possible. So I want to thank God tonight. And He's blessed me and my family so many times, and I know so many other people in the room that He's blessed with families and children and soon to be second time parents and all kinds of different people. I want to thank my family who just have been so supportive. As you all know, we're going through a very challenging time as a family. The most challenging time that any person ever can probably experience, aside from a death or a disease. This is probably the most challenging thing that anyone can go through. However, there's not been a single day that I haven't showed up on the job, that I haven't been focused. Even after different things have happened. We went on to eliminate the purple bags. We went on to present another excellent budget. We went on to add more police officers and firefighters. So we are 1,000% focused, laser focused on moving the city forward, even as soon as tomorrow. Not next week, not no breaks, tomorrow. Back at the office. I want to thank Jenny, my girlfriend, her family who's here tonight.
Yeah, Jenny.
I could go on, and I will one day, hours and hours about how much support she gives me, and I will one day, but not tonight.
November, Jen.
Yeah, definitely November. I want to thank the supporters, everybody in this room. You guys, you know me, you've come to know me. You know that the stuff that we're up against is a bunch of nonsense, hoopla, made up stuff that's an unfortunate situation. But we're not going to dwell on that tonight. We're going to come up with a strategy to win, because that's what winners do. They don't focus on losing. They don't look backward. They look forward. So we're going to take tomorrow. We're going to be back at the office. We're going to talk to the teams. We're going to make sure we're out there every day. We're going to get our message out. We're going to continue to praise the city. We're going to make things happen. We're going to keep moving the city forward. And we're going to win on November 5th. We're going to win big on November 5th. And a final note, a big thanks to Eric LePage. Of course, we're at LePage's. We've been here every year for the primary. Thank you, Eric. Awesome place, great food, great drinks. Give a round of applause. And just, if everyone can just keep Jen Andrade and Monica Souza, two people that are critically a foundation of our team, just keep them in your thoughts as well. I could name every single person in the room. John Garcia, you've been working, I don't know how many hours. Richard and Freddie out there today. Ron, Earl, your whole South End team. Julie, Rick, Richard, Rick. I mean, so many people. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Kathy, I see you over there in the corner. I'm just trying to catch some eyes. Yvonne, nice to see you. Lori, I mean, just people. The messages, the texts, the emails. Just an incredible amount of support. So I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. Let's get on to November 5th. Let's win big. Let's make it happen. God bless all of you. Thank you so much. Right into November. That's it. That's what we feel.
Your thoughts on the disparity of votes between you and Paul?
Oh, very simple. I mean, it's an an obvious question. You have an indictment 11 days ago. What do you expect? I mean, there's a political attack like I've never seen before. I don't think it's ever happened in American politics that there was this kind of a situation. So obviously, as I've stated, I think you're going to see over the next few weeks some of the political motivations behind these allegations and some of those things that are going to be disproved later. If I could have this trial next week, I would. But obviously, that's not physically possible. It's unfortunate because we've got a great record. People know that. The headline grabbing in Boston and Providence and in between are headlines. Those people that are watching at home right now, they don't live in Fall River. They haven't experienced that we've got more police and more firefighters and teachers. I look at some school systems in Providence. I look at what's happening in other communities with fire departments. They haven't seen the surge that Fall River has seen. I look at stabilization accounts across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for like cities like Fall River. I don't see the increase that we've created. So people in those other communities, they're gravitating towards headlines because they're salacious, and they're with malintent to obviously poison the voting pool. And that's exactly what happened tonight, unfortunately. However, we still won. Tonight is a victory. Tonight narrows the field down. It's the semifinals, and we've got the finals. The Patriots lose a few games once in a while. They've lost a couple Super Bowls, but they're still the team that's won the most. So we're going to win, and we're going to win big on November 5th.
How do you instill confidence in the voters? How do you instill confidence in the
Well, we instill confidence
with these indictments?
I don't want to give my strategies away, but it's a couple things. One, it's only been 11 days. We haven't had the opportunity to respond, right? So I think there's some things that we can. I think there's some things we can do to bring some stability back to the minds of voters. You heard me tonight talk about a lot of people that have voted for Jasiel Correira switched their vote tonight. That's what happened. It's not that they're not Jasiel supporters. They simply switched their vote. So now I have to work double hard with my team to earn their trust back, to make sure that they're comfortable with voting for me on November 5th. That's what we got to do. And that's what we're going to try and do, and we're going to give it our all.
What do you make of the not guilty pleas, which are guilty pleas today?
Those were never not guilty pleas. Those were always guilty pleas because those people have committed crimes going back to 2007. Going back, think about that. They're not going to be serving jail time. They're cutting deals left and right for crimes they committed when I was a sophomore in high school. All right, so I think the media should look into that. What else? Anything else?
What do you make of the two guilty pleas?
I just answered that question. Next question. Let's get this going because I got a lot of people here to shake hands and say hello to.
One of them says they're going to.
A big difference in votes. Can you respond to that? You think that all those people are going to change back?
I think we can get a portion of those people to change back, and then after getting the portion of people that we change back, we can get the additional 50% or more voters that come out in a general election. Keep in mind, tonight there was no city council race, there was no school committee race. I'm not going to sit here and tell you we're out of this thing because we're not. We're not out of this thing. There's a lot of things that can happen. Mano y mano, one-on-one, me and Mr. Coogan. That's what I'm talking about. And I wish if you guys weren't standing in front of me, I'd get everybody to say that. But
Agreed to 3 debates with him?
I'll do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 debates. You guys host a debate, I'll be there. Everybody has seen our debates. They know I bring the facts. They know that Mr. Coogan has no plan. Had this indictment not happened, it would have been a different night tonight. The debate that I had that night, the day before, it was night and day on who brought the facts, who brought the real deal for the city of Fall River. Unfortunately, very, very challenging in a short period of time to combat that, but we will. Now we have time. Now we have until November. And, I've continued to maintain my innocence. These things are totally made up. They're false. There's no proof. There's no evidence. And we're going to win the trial and we'll win the election if the voters want me to continue to serve as mayor. If they choose, and that's all. I said it tonight. I've asked them to change their vote. I can't make people change their vote. So if they don't want to vote for me and they want to move the city backward, because that's what you're going to get with Mr. Coogan, then that's their right. What I'm going to do and what my job is as a candidate and as a mayor over the next 6 to 7 weeks is to ask the voters in Fall River, not the voters in Providence or Boston or wherever you guys are from, the voters in Fall River to change their vote back to Jasiel. That's the first group. The people that change their vote from Jasiel to someone else. That's group number 1. Group number 2 is the people that sat at home and didn't come out to vote. That's a huge number. That's 50% more than tonight. 75% of the people did not vote tonight.
11,050 people voted.
11,050 people. That's not a huge number. That's less than the recall. Okay, less than the recall election. So we got a lot of people that did not come out and vote tonight. We're going to bring those people out to vote for Jasiel Correira. And then third is the people that did vote for me tonight, continuing to earn their trust and respect and bring them back to the polls on November 5th. That's the winning formula. That's a very realistic winning formula over the next 6 to 7 weeks. And if I do it, you'll all be here saying, how'd you do it? And if I don't, then life moves on. But that's the reality.
Joseph, you said this has been one of the hardest moments of your life. Could you
When did I
elaborate?
say that?
Earlier today, you said
No, I
it's
said
one of
this is the
the hardest
most
things that
challenging. No, I did not.
someone can go
I said it is the. Would you not agree with that? Being under 2 indictments is probably, besides death and disease, the hardest thing you can go through in your life. There's no question about that. And that's, I can't elaborate anymore. I mean, that's, if you've been through death in your family or you've been through disease, you know what I'm talking about. That kind of pain, that kind of loss, that kind of emptiness. That's what it's like.
Do you
Other
plan
questions?
to take the city council members to court if they can?
They're trying to take me to court. They have no legal standing to remove the mayor of the city of Fall River through a vote of 8 people.
Do you plan to retaliate any legal action?
I don't want to use the word retaliate because I don't retaliate. If they take me to court, then I will bring my lawyer to court and we'll see what the judge decides. I don't believe that 8 people can override the voters at an election. The voters had an election in March. They had an opportunity. They sent me back to the mayor's office, and I think they're going to do that again in November.
Jasiel, were you ever worried that you weren't going to make it tonight to the top 2?
No, I believe that I've said that all week long. There's been a lot of media outlets at the government center throughout the city. I've said all along that we were going to be in the top 2, and that is a victory. This is, as I said, this is the semifinals. Now we go on to the finals. Mano a mano, one-on-one, debates, facts, campaigning. That's what the next step is. Is it hard? Of course, it's hard. I mean, nobody wants to see anybody lose, and this is the other thing you have to keep in mind. Elections are won and somebody loses. That's the way it goes. I've beat 3 really unbelievable opponents in the past, including Mr. Coogan. I beat him in March. I beat former district attorney Sam Sutter. I beat Linda Pereira, longtime city councilor. So we've had our wins. We've had our very strong wins. We've had our wins based on results, based on facts. This difference is based on allegations. It's not based on facts. If you look at my record as mayor, you'll uncover all the good things that we've done for the city of Fall River, which I mentioned tonight in this speech. Those results and the very small group of people, 8,000 people that voted for Mr. Coogan, that small group of people are people that, number one, of course, they're supporters, and number 2, many of them are buying into lies, are buying into fear, are buying into allegations, not facts. So my job is to provide them facts and to disprove a lot of the things that they've heard.
Mayor, you said assaults and vendettas against you. Why do you feel people have a vendetta against you?
Oh, that's been proven so many times. I mean, look at the city council and what people stand to gain. I mean, you have councilors that are cousins with Mr. Coogan that say, hey, we're not going to put any legislation through while you're the mayor. I mean, that's a big problem right there. You've got Sean Kadim, former city administrator, current city councilor, put the city near receivership. He doesn't like the fact that we've changed the city and turned it around. So you have a lot of vendettas. I think there's a connection between the U.S. attorney and somebody locally. That's my personal opinion. You all are the reporters. You can go and investigate that yourself. But I really do believe that. If you look at the trajectory of this investigation, 23 years old, I become mayor. I have a company at 19, worth $300,000, the entire company. It's investigated. It's brought into federal court. It should have never been a federal case. The only reason it is because I'm a mayor. Okay? Those charges are based on no facts at all. The company was real. The U.S. attorney said it wasn't. At his press conference, he said that the app was not available to consumers. There were reporters in the room that literally raised their hand and said they had the app.
Do you think voters believe these so-called vendettas that you said?
I think a lot of voters do. In that time span from 11 days ago till today, very hard. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and not tell you the facts, right? I mean, we have to be realistic too. You got to look at that and say, okay, 11 days. How do you come back from something like that? And we still won tonight. There was a real possibility that I would have been out. I mean, most people wouldn't make it through this to get to the final election in November. We're still in this thing, and we're in it to win it. We're not in it to lose it. We're in it to win it. So all I got to do is look at the numbers, look at the precincts, go door to door, look people in the eye, say right in front of them, hey, here I am, ask me anything you want to ask.
How are you going to change their mind if they believe those accusations against you are true?
If they believe them, then I can't. What I would just do is ask them to wait and see. That's what I would ask them to do. Vote on my record. Vote on the fact that I've eliminated fees, that I've saved taxpayers money, that I've added more police officers and firefighters and teachers, and that our bond rating has improved, and that we've added more money to surplus. Vote on those facts. That's what I would ask people to do. Is that enough to win in November? I believe so. We've got a little bit of work to do, but this team of people that's behind me has never been afraid of work. I've never been afraid of hard work. You've all followed me for months. I've never taken one day off. You guys know that. You see, wait outside my office. You wait downstairs. I've never shied away from the press. I've always answered your questions. I'm there every single day, from the people of Fall River, for the people watching at home, and for the citizens of the city of Fall River, so that we together can make the city a better place. That's all I've done.
Mayor, the numbers are not good by comparison.
Yeah, okay.
Does it hurt?
Of course. Look, of course it hurts. We've won every single election I've run for mayor. Okay, and we're going to win in November. But that's a spread that we got to close, and that's a big gap to close. So now we strategize on how to close that gap. If anybody thinks that, that's not hard, they're not being truthful. Of course it's hard. Of course it hurts. But hey, I got to work hard to earn those people's votes back. That's it.
You have 24 indictments against you. That is
24 counts.
Counts
Two
against you. Indictments, yes. Got it. That is not a great situation to be in, as you explained earlier. Right. Do you guarantee that you're not going to, that you're completely clean of any of those counts and that you are not going to prison if you're reelected?
I'm 100%, whether I'm elected mayor or not, I'm 100% innocent of these charges. The only reason I've been brought up on these charges is because of political motivations. And I'm the mayor of a city, a young Democratic mayor. That's the reason this is happening. And if anybody can't see that the government, when in history does the federal government, the U.S. Attorney, bring people to Boston the day of an election, or we have reporters tweeting about the scenario that's unfolding in Boston? I mean, if anybody doesn't think that's an incredible hurdle to overcome, and it's not strategically done by the attorneys up in Boston, the prosecutors, then you're out of your mind. And the reality is, to still overcome that, and be in the final two, and still have another two, a month and a half to ask the voters to continue to vote for me, it's still an incredible feat. It's still an incredible feat to get to, and I'm happy about that, and we're going to work hard to ensure that we win on November 5th.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. I want to spend some time with the reporters.